These kids are the Braves, one of the 4 PTMAA teams. The Penn Trafford Midget Athletic Association practices right here at the municipal fields. But what exactly is the PTMAA? I sat down with the president of the organization, as well as 3 head coaches, to find out what exactly the PTMAA is.
It was actually created in 1963. It was to teach the youth in our community how to play football.
It's a youth football program for kids 12 and under.
Midget Association is the football program that feeds into our middle school, our 9th grade, and then ultimately our high school team.
This is one of the better programs around.
What would you say is the goal of the Midget Association?
My goal is to teach the kids what they need to learn for the next level.
The goal of the Midget Association across the board is building a foundation for these kids and giving them the steps that they need to ultimately play at the high school level.
By the time we get them through our Indian team, where they're a little more disciplined, the next stage is doing the same. By the time they get them to the high school, it's yes sir, no sir, everybody knows the same verbiage.
It gives everybody a chance to learn the game, understand the game. It's like building a house. Your foundation, each level builds on to the next level. The ultimate goal is them playing on Friday Night Lights.
We live in a good community. We get good kids, and it's not real hard. You just lead them in the right direction.
How have your teams been so successful in the history of this organization?
I really believe it starts in the flag, just teaching good fundamentals and passing it on from the Indians to the Braves to the Little Warriors. Me being the coach of the Little Warriors, we're the oldest, so I kind of benefit the most from everybody building those relationships.
I have a lot of great coaches underneath me, and I believe that we all work together to try to pull off what we need to do to get these kids out of high school and beyond.
There's a lot of coaches on these teams that don't even have kids in the program. They're doing it because they want to do it. They want to be here. They're bringing a solid foundation to all these kids, and these kids are learning football.
We have great coaches, guys willing to, spend the time.
I'm not taking anything away from the high school coaches. The high school coaches are phenomenal. But those kids from the high school that won the states have been playing football through the midget organization for years. The continuity between the players is spectacular. And it's all because they started off, they learned the game, and got to step through at each level together.
How do you create that authentic football experience?
Just kind of letting them go. I mean, it's football. We're not reinventing the wheel. I don't think it's so much us doing anything to them outside of just teaching them the fundamentals and then letting them be themselves.
We instill a good, strong base for these kids to move on, and not just in football, but in life itself.
I make every kid feel like they're the starting quarterback on a team. Everybody has an opportunity. If you earn it, you get it. If one kid's playing and you want his position, you can take it.
It's great to see a kid that starts one year that can't even get into a three-point stance, and then 2 or 3 years later, they're playing football.
How has the success of the midget program affect the older teams?
I'd love to say that we have something to do with that, but once they leave our program, they're in John's program. And
The high school has a great program, one of the best that we've ever had at Penn Trafford, probably the best that we've had.
those kids just flourish.
Not only did I talk to the head coaches, I also talked to the high school coach, the middle school coach, as well as former midget players to see what their experience with the Midget Association is and what they think of it.
They already have instilled in them, a winning attitude, a winning mentality.
We've been a big beneficiary of just the mindset of the football program.
We always talk about those things. You should expect to be successful in all your preparation, everything you do moving forward, in the season. And they already have that because they learned it at a young level.
The kids obviously have fun, but they understand the fine line between fun and discipline and doing things the right way. And our midget coaches for years have done things the right way.
I've been doing this a long time, over 40 years. When we're able to run a program the way we do, and we teach these kids how to win and lose because of the way that we structure everything in our practices, it sinks in.
A lot of the core values from midget football kind of were retained, whether it be urgency, a sense of self-discipline, and just playing with a chip on your shoulder. That persistence and self-discipline to kind of keep going.
Coming from the midgets right to middle school, all your fundamentals, and they start slow. Like with you in flag football, it's real slow. You're just running around basically, but they're still slowly teaching you that fundamental stuff.
Back then we got, a taste of what it's like to win. And, I feel like that kind of came out last year.
With the high school winning the state championship, and that was the very first time, I think that helped build our program. Winning the championship the year before for the 11 and 12s, we battled up through. We don't need to take a championship to be able to teach what we need to teach, but it sure helps.
I guess it laid a foundation of success for them at a young age and then moving forward.
And that kind of gave us extra motivation throughout the end of the season. We look back on times like that, we know what it's like to win, and we wanted that again.
Continuity. It's repetition is what it is. In anything you do, you get better with repetition. And that's what these kids get at this level. We start them off at flag and we teach them everything they need to know to play football.
It's the ability of those kids to know all their fundamentals before they get to us that is such a big deal. And then we have tough kids, they're physical, and they're very smart. That's all laid out at the midget level.
It's building each year on the foundations and what football is and introducing something new to them each year that's going to help them in the following year.
From a young age, you're already learning the high school offense. So by the time you get up there to Coach Ruane, you already know a good chunk of the playbook, and you already understand how the offense works.
Those kids know the plays, they know the schemes, they know the language.
They've been playing for 6-8 years together as a group. They understand each other.
For years, if you are successful as a group, you kind of form a bond and you stick together throughout your older midget years and your middle school years and then up to the high school. And it just becomes what you want to do.
I believe because of our success, our high school was able to spend less time teaching and then just coaching.
And they can play off of that. And it just leads to success.
Explain how influential it is for kids to experience football so young and how it improves their performance later on.
Playing football starting at the midget level was kind of instrumental in working with a group of guys. Like those guys that you play football with, they're kind of like your brothers.
Yeah, I made some pretty good friends I still talk to. We were all little kids, 5-6 years old, and we grew up to seniors in high school, all playing the same game together almost every day.
Playing at that young age throughout our entire football careers kind of helps us already be molded together a little bit, and that's just one less thing we have to do whenever we're older.
You start to fight for each other. So when it comes down to games that you kind of have to fight tooth and nail to win, you're able to kind of band together as a solid unit. If one guy goes down, you pick each other back up. And so you start to have this family aspect to it. You almost feel unbeatable.
They're family. They still are family. Dude, I'm going to be in one of the guys' weddings here pretty soon. It's awesome.
Just experience with a helmet and pads on first and foremost. First time you do that, it's unique.
The game's so much slower at that age, so the kids kind of get to pick what position they want to play, learn that position, and it kind of just gives you a one-up advantage on everyone else.
Playing at a young age, gets you familiar with the game. They learn to love the hard work and learn to love the grind. We call it the grind. Everything you have to do to put yourself in a winning situation, because it doesn't come easy.
And I believe by the time they get to the 11 and 12s, they actually know the plays and they actually know the verbiage from the high school. It's a process all the way through. It takes that to get to that level where you are able to just leave our program and start working with the high school.
The game has never been safer. The precautions, the way they teach things, the drills they've eliminated, and just the general awareness of health conditions have been so much better, even in the last 10 years, but like the last 15 years. I'm confident, and I say this as a parent, I love that my kid plays. I feel that he learns a lot from it, and I feel all the kids that have come through this program have learned a lot by playing football here.
They kind of teach you young people skills. Some kids that age don't really get to learn if they're not in a sport like that.
It teaches you so much. It's so much more than football, and you should have discipline for your whole life. And it starts young like that. Flag football, you're 5 years old. That's where it starts.
It's a great thing to do. It's a great sport. Obviously, I love it. I coach it. Our program is fantastic at the midget level.
If kids are interested in playing football, how do you think they can get involved with the PTMAA?
We send out letters in school,
I know that they do sign-ups in the spring.
Facebook, any type of social media.
You'll start to see little flyers come up around Harrison City, even Trafford.
The numbers are fantastic. They had 40-some kids per team sign up last year. Kids are really enjoying the experience.
I would say definitely do it if you're interested in football. It really helped me out a lot whenever I was younger, and I feel like it could do the same for a lot of people.
It's awesome. It just teaches everything you need to know about life, and everything builds off of that. Even if you don't go and play high school football, it's going to help you for everything. I know a bunch of kids that went through midget football and they never played high school or middle school football, but they're still good human beings.
This has been Zach Grabowski reporting for PTTV.